You have to start recording and start before, but go ahead and start the stream. Good afternoon, and welcome to Greg Mitchell Field inside Volney C. Ashford Stadium. It's Senior Day, and it's Missouri Valley College lacrosse, the women's edition this morning, as the Vikings host the Ottawa University Braves out of Kansas. Right now, you're watching the senior presentation. That's Shay Genrich, who is out of Farmington, Minnesota, and she is the first of the two seniors on the women's team to be honored today. The other who is coming up will be Malika Booz, who is a senior out of Baltimore, Maryland. Both of these seniors have been part of the program since its inception, and both, according to head coach Lindsey Ingram, have been instrumental in terms of developing the program and getting the program to where it is today. They feel like they've accomplished something. They're very proud of where the program is, and this women's program is growing. It's taken small steps, much smaller than the men's program steps, but it is a growing program, and these two seniors have been instrumental in the leadership in terms of developing the women's program. So Shay Genrich, again, a senior midi out of Farmington, Minnesota. Malika Booz, a senior midi out of Baltimore, Maryland. The two women's seniors being honored today before the women's lacrosse game against the Ottawa Braves. A little bit about today's matchup. The Missouri Valley College Vikings, coached by Lindsey Ingram. It's been a tough go of the season. They've had a string of one-goal games over the course of the last month. The last broadcast we did for the women's team was against Rockhurst, Division II, and that did not go especially well. But since that game, the Vikings have had kind of a nice little streak, beating Johnson and Wales out of Colorado 18-2. Lost to Benedictine 8-7. Again, a close games there. Then a 11-8 win against Lindenwood Belleville, a 8-7 loss at Clark, an 8-7 win against Missouri Baptist, a 12-11 win against St. Mary, and then a 4-3 loss on the 12th a few days ago at Midland in Nebraska. For the Ottawa Braves, they have won 6 straight games, and offense has carried the day for them. Go back to last month after a 6-5 loss to Benedictine, a 12-2 win against St. Mary's, a 9-4 win at Lindenwood Belleville, an 11-9 win at Marion, an 8-7 win at Midland, and 11-8 win at Clark, and then a 21-0 shutout of Johnson and Wells. The teams are lined up for the anthem, and we will pause 1 minute while the anthem goes on. You're listening to Missouri Valley College Sports on the Viking Sports Network. And the national anthem is wrapping up. We'll go through the starting laps. First for the visiting Ottawa University Braves, coached by Brittany Frankenfield. Frankenfield is in her second year as the head coach of the OU women's lacrosse program. A year ago, they was the first year of the program. They finished second in the KCAC tournament. They had 6 players earn all KCAC honors, and the Braves finished with an overall 7-5 record and a 5-1 record a year ago. This year, the starting lineup for them, you have number 3, Claire Yurchak, that's freshman attacker out of Olathe, Kansas. Number 4, Diana Marino, a junior out of Escondido, California. Hannah Holoma, a senior midi out of Atchison, Kansas. Claudia Marino, a junior out of Escondido, California. Addie Barraza, a sophomore out of Olathe, Kansas. Number 10, Cassie Ring, a sophomore defenseman out of British Columbia, Canada. I guess the whole province. The 14, Shelby Bender, a junior out of Pratt, Kansas. Number 15, Tabitha Seiki, freshman goaltender out of Baldwin, Missouri, just outside of St. Louis. Number 22, Kiara Thomas, a sophomore out of San Diego, California. She's a midfielder. Number 23, Dylan Finley, a senior midi out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. Number 24, Paige Fayette, a junior midfielder out of Teresa, New York. For the Missouri Valley College Vikings, number 2, Danielle Manning, a junior out of Baltimore, Maryland. Number 3, Shay Jenrich, one of the 2 seniors honored before the game. She is a senior out of Farmington, Minnesota. Number 5, Kellyanne Pozluzny, freshman out of Edmonton, Alberta. Number 7, Sydney Moyer, a sophomore attacker out of Kansas City. Number 8, Malika Booz, a senior midi out of Baltimore, Maryland. Number 9, Amelia Nelson, a sophomore out of Apopka, Florida. Number 10, Jordan Anderson, a freshman out of Eagan, Minnesota. Number 13, Paige Farewell, freshman midfielder out of Henderson, Nevada, just outside of Las Vegas. Number 14, Haley Magdich, a freshman attacker or defense person out of Wentzville, Missouri. Number 22, Kristen Hildreth, a junior defense or midi out of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And in goal, number 27, April Hennon, a junior out of St. Charles, Missouri. The Vikings are coached by Lindsay Ingram, who is in her second season with the Missouri Valley College Vikings. The first year for the women on the artificial turf. If you'll notice the myriad of lines on the field, they go through. This field gets used by just about everyone. Football, both men's and women's soccer, men's and women's lacrosse, and so a whole lot of lines on the field for this team. This is the first year the women have played on it. The men have played on it for a few years now, and there have been varying levels of success for the women's program. Again, a bunch of tight games for the women's program over the course of the last month, and part of what Lindsay Ingram said before the game was that it's just a matter of maintaining execution of fundamentals late in the game. It's a smaller roster for Missouri Valley College, and so she fully admits that fatigue has played a part of that, but it's all part of growing the program. Big efforts in recruiting for the lacrosse women's program here, and Ingram says that Kansas City and St. Louis are playing larger parts of it as the lacrosse tends to spread to the Midwest. And if you look at, going through the rosters, the number of players from Kansas City and from St. Louis are growing. In fact, just outside Atchison, Kansas, not too far from Kansas City. Olathe, Kansas, a few players for Ottawa. Topeka, not an hour away. Baldwin, Missouri is outside of St. Louis. So, even for Ottawa's team, there's an influence. Lee Summit's outside of Kansas City. Wentzville's outside of St. Louis. Then you have St. Louis and St. Charles, which is also about 30 minutes outside of St. Louis. So the Midwest flavor and lacrosse is growing, and teams in the Midwest and programs in the Midwest starting up and going through the growing pains as players and programs begin to evolve. To the draw control area, and Booz will be up against number 23, Dylan Finley. Finley is one of the Braves' better scorers, 17 goals, 39 assists on the season for Finley. So she is one of the 3 players who really command the scoring for the Braves as the ball is scooped up by Valley. That is Magdich with it. And they'll feed it back around. Missouri Valley scoring goes through Malika Booz. Booz, 16 goals, 3 assists in the season, and Paige Farewell, the other person, 26 goals and 3 assists for the season. Valley doesn't score a lot, averaging just 7.5 goals per game. But defense has been tight, and that's how they keep themselves in. Booz on a charge, and a stop, and a score. Malika Booz puts it through. It got through the goaltender, Tabitha Saki, and Valley takes a 1-0 lead with 29:18 to play here in the first half. And it's Malika Booz, goal number 17 on the season. And Valley took the draw, maintained possession, and Booz goes through the defense and puts it home for her first of the season first of the game and 17th of the season. Ball in the air, and Booz comes away with it. Booz likes it. Ooh, a nice pass that is deflected out front. Had a cutting player, did Valley. That was Jenrich on the cut. And Ottawa will come back and feed it back. And before working it forward. And that's now Dylan Finley. Finley across the center stripe, now working to the attack end. We'll pull it back, and Ottawa will set up its offense. I mentioned 3 scores for the Braves. They are led by Kiara Thomas, who has 33 goals in the season, as they are inside the fan. Defense, and a shot looks like maybe to the head. And yep, a yellow card. Yellow card is out. As an unsafe play. And a free attack or free rush for Ottawa. And lining up players. And that is Paige Fayette with it. Oh, step side, and she shoots and scores. Paige Fayette evens the game, 27-49. And the penalty leads to a goal, an evening goal. And for Fayette, that is her 26th goal of the season. She's one of the 3 of the main goal scorers for the Braves. She came in 25 at 18 assists. Kiara Thomas, 33 goals, 5 assists, and Dylan Finley, 17 and 39. But for Fayette, the goal off the start after the penalty. And we're knotted at 1. Just 2 minutes, a little more than 2 minutes into the start of this game. Ball on the ground, and that's Diana Marino. Passes it forward, and it's back on the ground. And it'll be scooped up by Valley, and that's number 22, Kristen Hildreth, with it. Ball being knocked around, being chased. Jordan Anderson hacking at it, and the ball's going to go over to Ottawa. On the whistle. Ooh, almost intercepted by number 9, Amelia Nelson, on the pass, and another whistle, and it will stay with the Braves. Fayette with it, feeds it back now to Barassa. Up top to Aloma, now to Finley. And they'll kind of work just outside that, the 12-meter fan. Fayette, goal line now extended for Cassidy Ring. Here comes Fayette charging through, gets 2 white shirts to chase her, spins back around. Good defensive pressure there. Oh, a fantastic attempt at the cutter. I think a stick may have gotten a hand, as that was Hannah Haloma cutting in. But Valley gets possession on the turnover, and Nelson will bring it forward behind the net now. And Valley will try to set up its offense as Sydney Moyer works with the ball. Out to Puzzluzny. She gets checked nicely by Diana Marino. And the Vikings will work it now inside the fan. Nope. 3 black shirts, and the ball's loose. Malika Boo's the only person close to it. She'll scoop it up. So good defensive collapsing early on after 2 quick goals. Almost 5 minutes into the first half. Paige Farewell, Vikings leading scorer, with it. And she'll play a little bit of catch with Jordan Anderson. Farewell tried to hit Booz on the move. Can't do it, but the Vikings maintain possession with Moyer, who works it behind to Puzzluzny. Now running outside the crease. A shot on the short side. Misses wide. Valley maintains control. And Paige Farewell with it. To Booz, back to Farewell. Using Booz as a screen. Farewell on a rush. And a whistle behind. And Farewell will get a free run at it. Waiting for the whistle on the start. Farewell shot, deflected out in front, tipped up in the air, and all that Seiki had to do was kind of wait for it to come back down. She catches it in the butterfly net, and up come the Braves across midfield. Booz tried to stick check. Now can't do it as Dylan Finley running forward. Finley, a shot that trickled wide. April Hennon watches it go, and the ball will go over to Missouri Valley. Hennon over to Alexis Haney. Haney is a junior out of Baltimore. And she'll get it forward to Moyer. Moyer watched by Marino. And Valley will set up the offense, and Ottawa will set up its defense. That's Farewell with it. Getting to the top, fakes a pass. Nope, she did pass it. Jordan Anderson. Back to Farewell. Now below the net. That's Kellyanne Puzzluzny. Moreno, good job with the stick. Here's Booz charging in. Booz, a shot and a save by Seiki. Seiki, the freshman goalkeeper for Ottawa. Brittany Frankenfield had a lot of high praise for her. So she's very mature for freshman, has done a fantastic job in terms of providing some leadership from the goal, even will provide some offensive tips every now and again. For what the vision she has from back behind, and some of her lacrosse IQ as the ball goes out, and Haney will scoop it up and we'll bring it back in. Tied at 1, about 21 and a half minutes to play. And Ottawa with it. That's Barraza. And she'll cross. Into the attack area, and she feeds Haloma. Down to Fayette. Looking for a person cutting through, and that would have been Jessica Babler, who flashed through the arcs for a moment. Fayette going around one, going around two, steps in front, and that gets deflected. I don't think Hennon got a piece. I think it was deflected before it got to the net, and it goes up and over. Ottawa will keep. Cassidy Ring and I believe it's Fayette behind the goal. Yes, it is. Ring with it now to Haloma. I will bring it back up top and reset. Just outside the fan, working now from right to left, is Ottawa. Bit of a wind today. I don't quite see on the screen the wind blowing, kind of swirling inside the stadium, but it's blowing from south to north pretty fierce. There's a pass in front and a shot by Dylan Finley that goes wide. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Kiara Thomas who put it wide. 22, not 23. And Valley will get control. Running with it and a pass it. Moyer doesn't handle it. It'll go all the way toward the end line and be scooped up by Claudia Marino. And Ottawa will take it. Three white shirts and a nice little play by number 13, Paige Farewell, to come away with it. Farewell running around black shirts and ultimately gets her angle cut off by Diana Marino. Two Marinos on the Ottawa University team. Diana, the junior, and Claude, well, they're both juniors. Right side, there's Moyer having issues with keeping it in her cross. Jordan Anderson trying to split two players, can't do it, and an illegal stick on Ottawa, and Anderson will get a free run at it. All the black shirts, great, and she shoots and scores. Jordan Anderson at 17:50 makes it a 2-1 game. Valley reclaims the lead. And for Anderson, that is her first of the game. Now looking up her season stats. For Anderson, as the ball comes to center, that is her second goal of the season. So 2-1 Vikings. And Ottawa now rushing forward, and Thomas lost it momentarily, but regains control and gets it behind the net. And she'll feed it to the left side extended for Cassidy Ring, and it works back up top, and that's Fayette with it now. Fayette guarded by Booz. Hits a parry right on top of, a fantastic play as Cassidy Ring flashed to the center right outside the crease and put it home, and the Braves tie it at 2. Just 45 seconds after the Vikings took the lead. Once again, the Braves equalize. And for Ring, that is her 8th goal of the season. And whistles everywhere. Valley running right side. Pazluzny now working behind the net. Changes her mind. We'll get it out to Nelson. Oh, a little high for Janrich. Right outside the 8-meter arc, and a whistle, and the ball will go to Ottawa. That's Hannah Haloma. It was caught nicely by Malika Booz, and now number 10, Cassidy Ring, listed as a defenseman on the chart. She's kind of living that goal line. Fayette with it. 2 white shirts converge on her, works around. She shoots and scores. Went low, and Hennon couldn't stop it. And for the first time today, the Braves take the lead, 15-42. And Paige Fayette, her 2nd of the game, 27th on the season. And it's a 3-2 lead for Ottawa. So Vikings try to converge, and Fayette went around and just kind of shot it low to the right side of Hennon. The ball up in the air, whistle, and it's going to go to Ottawa. Dylan Finley with it. To Haloma, and now back to Fayette. Fayette just outside the fan. Hands it off to Barasa, but she gets it back, and they'll now go left side. Little spin move. Gets around Haney, shoots, and it goes wide. So Fayette, a couple times now, tried a little bit of misdirection. A little step one way and then a spin the other to try to get around the defense, and a couple times it's worked. Last time she managed to put the ball in the back of the net. That one went a little wide. And Ottawa with it will work around as Finley goes through the fan, but it's Fayette with it now. Gets around one, gets stopped by 3 people, and then a whistle blows. And it's an illegal stick. And from point blank range, Fayette's going to have a free attack. Waiting for the whistle. Fayette the trigger. Shot, and she shoots and scores. And for Paige Fayette, The junior out of Teresa, New York. She gets the hat trick with 14:06 to play in the first half. That's goal now number 28 on the season. And a timeout is called on the field as it's now a 4-2 game. So Fayette with 3 of the 4 Ottawa goals. And possession and control time. Both coaches talked about it before the start of the game. The last several minutes has belonged to the Braves in terms of possession and also in terms of the scoring. Well, there's a timeout. We're going to take 30 seconds. You're listening to Missouri Valley College Women's Lacrosse on the Viking Sports Network. .14:06 to play. It's a 4-2 Ottawa lead. The Vikings use a timeout. While I have this timeout, just a courtesy reminder, this broadcast is copyrighted by the Mass Communication Department of the Division of Communications, Humanities, and Human Services of Missouri Valley College for the private use of our audience. Any retransmission or use of the content without the express written consent of Missouri Valley College is prohibited. And a big thanks to Marshall, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram for providing transportation for the away games, especially during football and basketball, for Ken Kiava, the voice of the Vikings, and Joe All as they bring you Viking football and men's and women's basketball through the course of the fall and spring. Ken finished up a baseball doubleheader yesterday as the Vikings hosted Baker. He has today off momentarily, and then it's a busy baseball and softball week again next week for Q on the radio side of things. Ottawa on the draw control. Once again, the possession goes to the Braves. And there's, boy, Thomas right in front. Hennon got a piece of it, kicked it aside. Kiara Thomas was essentially by herself right in front of Hennon, and Hennon came up with the save. Valley now trying to generate a little bit of offensive momentum as there's a push and a foul. And Valley will start as Haley Magdich has it. Now Jordan Anderson over to Paige Farewell. Valley's lost a number of, and won a couple of one-goal games. The games have been really tight throughout the course of the last several weeks for Valley, whether it's been on the short end of the stick or the long end of the stick, as the case may be. Whether it's a win or a defeat, it's been a number of one-goal games in a row. In fact, the largest margin of victory or defeat is 3 goals, and that happened a few weeks ago when Valley played Lindenwood Belleville. That's Booz with it on the left side, and they'll get worked back up top. Anderson has it. Thought about getting it to Savannah Titsworth momentarily, but works it back left to Booz, and now Anderson with it again. Back to Boost. Valley with 4 players below the goal line and 3 up front. And here comes Paige Farewell. Farewell try to get it to Booze. And a whistle. And Booze will have a free attack. Refs are directing traffic. Waving players into position, and the whistle will start. Booze, a shot, and that's right into the trap of Tabitha Seiki. And so that chance goes by the wayside. And here comes Ottawa back on offense. A little trouble handling it by Haloma briefly. There's a pass that's just a little bit low for Thomas. Hennon chases after it and wins the race, and we'll bring it back in. And there's Manning with it now. Manning running to the middle of the field. Thomas chasing her. Manning splits 2 black shirts, now 2 more. Running up, drop the ball. And a foul call from the near side official. Manning maintains and lobs it forward to Farewell. Farewell, a nice catch. And she tried feeding it down to Sydney Moyer, a little high for her. And it goes over to, well, looks like the ref pointed to Ottawa, but Valley's going to maintain possession. That's Moyer with it, behind the goal. Now to Pozluzny. To Booze. Booze entering the 12-meter fan. And we'll hand it off to Farewell. Farewell splits 3 players. Farewell tries shooting it in, and she gets fouled. And she'll get a free attack. 9:34 to play. Vikings trail by 2. And Paige Farewell will try to bring Valley 1 goal closer. Here she comes. The Ottawa converges. And another whistle, and I think Farewell's going to get another shot. And she will. On the start, there's a shot, goes wide to the left side. Moyer was back there, and she'll bring it back in. So, 3 in a row that I can think of in terms of free attacks that Valley has not been able to capitalize on. Booze try to take the pass from Moyer. It was mishandled, and Ottawa takes over. Marino ahead to Finley. Finley got clipped in the head. Is that a red? Nope, just a penalty. And that's Farewell who's over in the box, and Valley will be short-handed. Up to Thomas. Thomas couldn't catch it cleanly, still on the ground, and scooped up by Hildreth. Ahead to Jenrich. Jenrich gets slashed, and they will maintain possession as Melanie Romig, a freshman of Waverly, Kansas, guilty of that infraction. Kozluzny being chased by Thomas. Eventually gets into the attack zone. They'll work now left side of the net. That's Moyer. Moyer loses it. Ottawa couldn't pick it up, I don't believe. Whistle behind the net. And Valley has it. That's 14. Shelby Bender back there getting defensive pressure on Valley in the front. And a stick check. That's Marino guilty of that one. So Valley will start it off, and that's Savannah Titsworth, a freshman out of Missoula, Montana. 2 on her. Another whistle. Valley will restart. Kozluzny behind Moyer. Moyer going to try. Nope, thought about it. And Claudia Marino flashed in front. Cutting her off. Here's Booze with it. Now into the fan. Booze with 4 black shirts around her and a whistle. And Malika Booze can get another shot at this. Booze and Farewell are the goal scorers for Valley, the leading goal scorers. Booze with 16 coming into the game. And more whistles. 16 coming into the game. She got the first one. 42 seconds into the contest, put Valley on the board. And now the refs are going to caucus. And the restart. And Booze shoots. Oh, it's off the post. Nope, it went in. Malika Booze, delayed reaction as she shows the stick to the ref. That one was in and out pretty quickly. And Booze gets goal number 18 at 5:50. And it's now a 4-3 game. I wasn't sure it went in. And not sure if there's a replay of that or not. Draw control area, and Valley comes away with it. Anderson. To Kozluzny. Kozluzny with 2 Braves on her. Now behind the net to Amelia Nelson. Back up. Little spin move to Booze. Booze, another spin move. And a whistle. So Booze just inside the 12-meter fan. And she hands it off to Anderson. to Nelson. Nelson loses it, and it's picked up. Up, there's a player down. It's an Ottawa player down behind the play as Fayette runs forward. Still a player down. Fayette, and they whistle stops play. That was number 7, Claudia Marino, who was down. She's up, but bending over her knees at about the right 23-yard line. And the refs are having a discussion on the left 17 to position the play. Fayette continued the play upfield. Marino is rubbing her chin. Otherwise, looks to be okay. And Fayette, perhaps on the verge of her 4th goal of the game. There's the whistle. There's a shot and a save by Hannon. Hannon was guarding that low angle and a pass that Haney did a nice job of catching and corralling. And there's 3 people that are trying to converge on her. Haney forward and eventually gets it in the offensive end. And a pass that's almost picked off by Moreno and then ultimately scooped up by Diana Moreno. And then they clip J.C. Wilson with a foul. And so Moreno and Booz running upfield, and they'll feed it back. And gets it to Barraza. Barraza finds Finley. And Finley feeds it to Farrell, and a whistle. And there's an issue now with the net. They're looking at Hannon doing some housekeeping behind the or in the net. And we'll restart. Paige Fayette has 2 white shirts on her. There's a shot from Hannah Haloma right in front, and it bounced up and over the net. Thomas with it. There's a shot. Oh, one-time attempt from Haloma. That goes high and wide. Good little nifty little pass from Fayette to Haloma. But that attempt went wide. And here's Ring now, left side. Looking for Barraza. And a whistle. And Barraza will get a free attack. Barraza is a midfielder out of Olathe, Kansas. Up against Hannon. And she shoots and scores. Addie Barraza makes it a 2-goal game once again, 1:56 to play. And so the Braves make it a 5-3 game. Draw control. taken by Ottawa for Barraza, goal number 3 on the season. And Hildreth puts Fayette on the turf, and Fayette will get another free attack on it. Third goal of the season for Barraza. Got 2 in the last game against Johnson New Wales a couple days ago. So scoring went several games with just 1 assist, and then the last few games got an assist against Clark on the 8th, 2 goals and an assist the 13th against Johnson New Wales, and so Barraza gets her 3rd goal. And there's a pass. Oh, Finley was right there, but couldn't get much on the shot, and Hennon has it. Hennon being Ring is putting some pressure on. That pass is a little high, and Booz eventually gets it, and now she'll sprint upfield. Gets around Thomas, goes by Marino. Now there's Moyer. Moyer left side, below the goal line, will feed to Nelson. Booz with it. It's a little screen from Farewell. And the ref do some stage managing, and Booz will start from just outside the 8-meter arc. .42 seconds to play, first half. 5-3 the score. Booz, a shot, and she scores! Malika Booz gets her 3rd goal of the game. Valley once again pulls within 1 with 39 seconds to play. And for Booz, goal number 19 now on the season. And so she scored early in the period and now scored late in the period, 5-4. And I think for Missouri Valley at this point, considering how evenly matched this contest has been, winning the draw control and getting one last offensive rush to perhaps tie the game going into half would be huge for the Vikings at this point. For Ottawa, the other way. Extending it back out to 2 goals, the priority for the Braves with 40 seconds to go in the half. Thomas and Farewell in that draw control area. And it is, oh, they call a white ball. They called Thomas for the check. And so Valley, as Pozluzny gets it, now will run right side. 30 seconds to play. Pozluzny works it back toward the middle. Will feed Farewell. Farewell with 18 on the clock to Anderson. Oh, there's a shot right in front and a score. Nifty little play as Jordan Anderson gets her 2nd of the game on a great feed from Amelia Nelson. And with 14.2 to go, it's a 5-5 game. Jordan Anderson on the year, goal number 3.
Missouri Valley goal by number 10, Jordan
And
Anderson.
in the waning seconds of the first half, it's all even. We'll see what happens in the final few seconds here. Either team can mount one last charge. And quickly, Thomas Knocks it. Still can't scoop it up. Time ticking off the clock now. 5 seconds to go, and a whistle with 3.7. I don't think much of anything's going to come out of this in the final few seconds. And to Barraza. Barraza will run out of time. We've hit halftime. It's a 5-5 game on Senior Day at Missouri Valley College. You're watching Missouri Valley College Women's Lacrosse on the Viking Sports Network. Back in a minute. Okay, welcome back to Missouri Valley College. Women's lacrosse coverage. Just a minute to go before the start of the second half. Going through some first half stats. Shots by period. Ottawa shot Missouri Valley 14-10. Both teams had 3 saves. Ground balls by period. Missouri Valley 6, Ottawa 5. Turnovers. Missouri Valley with 2. Draws by period. Ottawa 6. Draw controls. Missouri Valley 4. Clears. Ottawa 5 and Missouri Valley 6. Free position shots. Ottawa was 2 of 2. Missouri Valley 3 of 4. I'm not sure necessarily by that stat. Recapping the scoring. Malika Booz, unassisted, put Missouri Valley on the board at 29-23, 28-36. Paige Fayette, unassisted, not of the game. Missouri Valley went back up top 2-1 on a goal by Jordan Anderson, a free position goal. Cassidy Ring from Paige Fayette made it a 2-2 game at 17-27, 16:09. Fayette unassisted gave Ottawa its first lead of the game. Fayette scored again a couple minutes later at 13:53, a free position goal. Made it 4-2. Malika Booz at 5:47 pulled Valley back within 1, but Addie Barraza at 1:39 gave Ottawa a 5-3 lead, and everyone's kind of looking. The wind here is, like I said, in the first half, it's swirling. It's blowing from the south to the north. But the soccer goal that's on the hill just outside of the off the turf just got blown over by a gust of wind. Malika Booz at 34 seconds made it 5-4. Then evening it up, Jordan Anderson from Amelia Nelson on a nifty little pass made it a 5-5 game, which is where we are right now. Ottawa with it, left side, and that's Finley to Fayette, now to Barraza, to number 2, only Romig. Barraza with it. There's Farewell. Watched by Hildreth. Barraza. Tried hitting it off. It's on the ground momentarily for Finley. Finley on a charge. Nope, 2 white shirts there. Pulls back. As Cassidy Ring went through the arc. To the right of the fan. Back to Barraza. To Paige Fayette. Fayette with 3 goals in that first half. We're a minute and a half in. And a whistle. And Fayette will get a free position try. Fayette works toward the middle, try to get out of the forehand now. Hildreth, and there's a pass right in front and a shot deflected out in front. And a follow through violation, I believe. And it is Romig going off. For an unsafe play. But it's Barraza just outside the 12-meter fan. With the ball, and then Finley gets it now just to the left of the goal mouth. And again, there's more stage direction from the referees and positioning of players. And Manning walking in circles. Players are set, we play. And ball on the ground. Another whistle as Hildreth took a spill. Fayette with it. Clock is stopped with 27:22 to play. There's a shot that's deflected wide. Back up top for Barraza. Now to Fayette. And they're going to whistle Anderson for the stick. Fayette charging forward, shoots, and scores. Gets it through Hennon. Again, went low on Hennon, so at 26:47 of the half, Paige Fayette with goal number 4 on the day and number 29 on the season. Ottawa takes a 6-5 lead. Ball in the air for the draw control. Booze. Can't quite get it. Ottawa. And up. Just dropped by Fayette, but Finley. There, scoop it up and a wide pass. A little miscommunication there from Finley to Haloma. And the ball gets turned over to Missouri Valley. That's running forward into the zone. High pass. It's a little bit too tall for Nelson. And it goes right back over to the Braves. Braves came in averaging 10.5 goals per game. Had 5 at the break, so right in line for that. Average giving up just a little more than 6 goals per game. So Valley's offense has done a fair job to top, at least so far, the average. And a Valley player is going off. For a foul, and that, I believe, is Nelson, and it is. So Amelia Nelson puts the Vikings short-handed, the sophomore out of Apopka, Florida. High pass, and it's intercepted by Booze. Booze running forward. Booze inside the fan. Booze has 4 black shirts on her. And we'll pull it back to the top. Now splits the teams, tries bouncing one in. Can't do it. Hildreth there. And bring it back in. So a turnover by Ottawa turns into a chance for Valley, and a pass that kind of handcuffed Moyer, and it goes out of bounds, and turnover for Valley, and Ottawa will get it back. So Claudia Moreno will bring it in. And there's Fayette, who loses it out of bounds. Good pressure by Farewell, freshman out of Henderson, Nevada. And here comes Valley once again. Farewell has a player. Oh, back check by Fayette. 2 Valley players go down. It goes with Ottawa. As Paige Fayette kind of ran down from behind Paige Farewell. And Hildreth will excuse me bump, and it stays with Ottawa. So a handful of turnovers. Have dictated or been the markings of the play the last couple minutes. High pass. Actually floated into the wind. And Anderson with the check. Thomas, round 1, round 2, and she shoots and scores, and there was not a whole lot Hennon can do. Danielle Manning didn't do much to slow down Kiara Thomas, and for Kiara Thomas, came in with 33 goals in the season. That is her first. And with 22:20 to play in the second half, Thomas extends the lead to 2 for the Braves. Goal number 34 on the season for the sophomore out of San Diego. So a slow start to the second half for the Vikings. 2 goals for the Braves. And a whistle right away. And Valley will bring it ahead. There's Booz. 2 players on her, one of which is Fayette. And dropped momentarily by Farewell. Farewell going to the middle. Farewell, and that seemed like an obvious one, is Diana Moreno. Impeded the progress there, so Farewell will get a free position chance. Again, some stage direction from the officials. Waiting on the start. Here comes Farewell. Farewell. We'll get another chance. I believe they called. I'm not sure what they called. Farewell shoots wide. And Nelson with it now. Left goal line. Valley has virtually everyone top center, and then flashes players in front. Nelson looking for someone to feed it to. Can't find anyone. Here's a check to the crease, and that is J.C. Willison, who was tripped up, and she'll get a free position chance. There's a shot high and wide from Willison. So that chance goes away. Willison with 4 goals on the season. But right now it's Nelson with it. Nelson. I thought about passing it for a second. I think she was looking for a white shirt there. And it was either jarred free or it's kind of an excuse me pass. Either way, it gets turned over to Ottawa, and Haloma with it now gets it to Fayette. To Finley. Right side. Back to Barraza. Finley to Haloma. Haloma going left, looking for some play. Thomas flashed in front for a second, but Haloma was pulling the ball away. Here's Finley, a shot that's looked like it was going to go wide left, but Hennon captured it. Ring in Hennon's face, and now some passing is Farewell can't keep it under control. Ball gets kicked around. Moreno forward to Ring, and Ottawa maintains or recaptures possession of the ball. 18:30 to play roughly in regulation. 7-5 game. Offensive possession time really been dominated this half by Ottawa. Working left side, tries to go short side. Thomas was there. Manning's there. Still on the ground and ultimately out of bounds. And the ball goes to Missouri Valley. Nope. Yep. Now no one knows. It is Ottawa ball. One ref was pointing one way, they were pointing a different way, and Thomas and Manning are just basically handing it off. Whistle away from the play. Haney gets whistled for the foul or for the infraction. Haloma to Barraza. And then he just flagged Kristen Hildreth, or whistled Kristen Hildreth. Fayette, and they're going to whistle Hildreth again. And hands on East. We mentioned at the top of the cast that Valley set a number of close defeats, and that's Lindsey Ingram. That coach has mentioned just trying to make sure that fundamentals are kept through the closing moments of the game as fatigue and exhaustion start setting in. And so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Jessica Babler with it now. And a pass that was intended for Finley. And once again, it's Hildreth who gets whistled. Inside the arc, now a pass in front. I think that's Thomas that got the shot off, and Hennon was there. Hennon, high pass in the center of the field. The ball still rolling, and a whistle. And it'll be Valley ball. Nelson running right side. Spinning Marino around, now goes below the goal. And we'll hand it off to Willison. Now left goal line for Savannah Tisworth, who dropped a momentarily. Ooh, a risky pass to Booz. Booz tries the left side, can't find anyone. A high pass that gets caught up in that wind a little bit, but Nelson's able to come down with it. Nelson with a deflected just wide. Good chance for Nelson as players spill between the V and the A and the football end zone. Nelson's shot deflected just wide. Ottawa with the ball. That was Barraza with it. And now on the ground. Couldn't be handled by Haloma. Still on the ground. And Jordan Anderson gets called. Ottawa with it. And it's a little bit of a 4-on-3. Haloma gets cut off by Jenrich, one of the two seniors. Thomas right in front. Thomas shoots and scores. Thomas got around Alexis Haney. And for Kiara Thomas, her second goal of the game, second of the half. And the Braves have extended the lead to 8-5 with 13:19 to play. So far, the Braves pitching a shutout here in the second half for Thomas, goal number 35 on the season, and a timeout on the field. And we'll take it with them. You're watching Missouri Valley College Women's Lacrosse on the Viking Sports Network. Eight-5 is the score. The Ottawa Braves have opened up the scoring here in the second half. 3 goals, 2 by their leading scorer, Kiara Thomas, the sophomore out of San Diego, to kind of open up the lead. Valley is not a stranger to close games. And so, with the 13 minutes remaining, still a lot of time for seniors Shay Genrich and Malika Booz to make their mark on this game and on the final home game of their season. It's senior day here at Missouri Valley as we head to the draw control area. And there is one of the seniors, Booz, up with it against Dylan Finley. Valley wins the draw. And the music plays on. There, Greg Mitchell Field. Oh, and there's a check. Genrich tried pushing the issue. She got bumped around a little bit, so she'll get a free position chance. From the top of the 8-meter arc. Waiting for the restart. There it is. Genrich's shot bounces up and over. So try to get it by Tabitha Seiki. Valley will maintain possession. Genrich in front. There's a shot that gets deflected, I think, by the defenseman on net, but doesn't get into the net. And Ottawa now has it, and there's Paige Fayette, who will carry into the offensive zone. And Kellyanne Pozluzny will get whistled for the infraction, and the Braves will restart. Braves, I'm sure, can tend to really work the ball around, work for good scoring opportunities. A 9-5 lead, considering Valley has only had a couple of chances here in the second half, might be insurmountable. Right side, that's Fayette. Watched by Haney. Now Manning on her. Fayette tried to go up and under like a basketball move, but they're going to whistle it dead. Manning stuck her foot out. And it was an easy call. Fayette tried to go around one player, shoots it and scores. They've gone low all game long on April Hennon. And for Paige Fayette, that is goal number 5 on the day. And so she has half of the Ottawa output. And then for her on the season, goal number 30 at 10:39 to play. So 9-5 is the lead. And if Valley wants to make some noise here in the last 10 minutes or so of action, it's going to have to start right now, and they're going to have some urgency about it. Farewell and Finley at the logo. In the air and tipped to Nelson, but Nelson couldn't control it, and then she gets whistled, and Ottawa has it, and that's the last thing that Valley needed. And they have a player in front, didn't see it, and I think Fayette just took a stick to the side, clutching that left hip. They had Babler cutting. She was behind the defense. There's a shot for Thomas that goes wide left. So Kiara Thomas got herself right in front of the goal, spun and just shot it just wide. And the clock runs, 9:43. Long pass by Hennon, too tall for Moyer on the other side, and Ottawa will get possession once again. Try a long breakout pass, nothing happening. Here's Barraza. Being watched by Anderson, now to Fayette. Fayette, goal number 6. Staring at her, throws it too high for Thomas. Hennon thought about chasing it, and ultimately it's going to get touched by Manning, and 2 black shirts kind of topple Manning. And Valley will have possession. And 3 people now converging on Manning. Manning still has it up, lost control. Kind of just popped out, still on the ground. And there's Nelson. And it's going to go over to Ottawa after all of that. Hannah Haloma. Haloma, a stick save by April Hennon. And there's contact to the head and a yellow card for Kiara Thomas. Shay Jenrich was trying to break out of the defensive zone. So Thomas will head over to the penalty area, and Jenrich will trigger here momentarily for Missouri Valley. 7:40 to play. It's a 4-goal Brave lead. Willison with it. Willison with 2 players on her. Looking for some help now and not finding anybody. There's Jenrich. Nice scoop with Jenrich on a pass that was low. And I believe it's going to be Haloma who is guilty of that. Has another whistle. Pass forward. And not caught cleanly by Pozluzny. Ottawa with it. And that ball's back on the ground. Pozluzny giving chase, kind of being croqueted at by Jenrich. It'll be Valley ball. Working behind. There's Farewell. And she'll just hand it off to Jordan Anderson. And a pass for Booz behind her, or Anderson's there. Farewell once again with it. Farewell in front, shot, scores! Kellyanne Pozluzny, the freshman out of Edmonton, Alberta, gets the first Viking goal of the second half. And with 6:05 to play, it's now 9-6. So Pozluzny on a good feed. Pulls the Vikings within 3, and now a timeout called on the field. And we will take it with them. You're watching Missouri Valley College Women's Lacrosse on the Viking Sports Network. 9-6 the score, 6:05 to play for Kellyanne Pozluzny. That was goal number 8 for her on the season. And they're to the draw control. On the ground. And Moreno went flying through, trying to scoop it up, and didn't. And took a nice hip check from Paige Farewell. Here come the Braves. And the ball's left side. Fayette with it. Works to the middle. And apparently the stick dropped for Hildreth. So, free position chance for, as there's a shot and a score. Paige Fayette had 3 in the first half, has 3 in the second half, 4:57 on the clock, and Paige Fayette gets her 31st goal of the year, and the lead is back to 4 with just a hair under 5 minutes to play. And draw control and possession. And Fayette has been a one-person wrecking crew for Valley. 6 goals on the day. She had an assist in the first half on a Thomas goal. So a basket full of points on this Easter weekend for Paige Fayette. And she has the ball again. High pass, there's Finley. 2 come down with it. And a whistle. And Hildreth. Here's Finley. Pulls it out, now to the top, intercepted by Anderson. Anderson to Malika Booz. Booz going to run the left side herself, and she gets tripped. And staying down. And now a timeout. It's a field turf surface. I think it's like, well, working on that left leg for Booz. I'm not sure if it's the contact with the ground or if there was a misstep in there as she went to the ground. The players rubbing all the little black rubber pellets off of her. And they'll be doing that for hours. Those rubber bits find tough places, but she's walking off on her own power, a little hitching her giddy up. And Haley Magditch comes on. They'll wait for Booze to get off to the bench area, the senior from Baltimore, who has 3 goals on the day. 3 of Valley's 6 tallies. Magditch to Anderson. Right side, there's Moyer. Moyer behind for Nelson. Now Pozluzny. There's Anderson on a rush right side. She shoots and scores. Jordan Anderson. And I saw one orange cap go flying from the stands. It's a hat trick for her as Jordan Anderson notches her 2nd, 3rd, and 4th goals of the season. And with 3:23 to play, it's now a 10-7 game. So that entire sequence and nice to see Malika Booz back on the field. That entire sequence started in the defensive end. Pass was intercepted, got ahead to Booz. Booz ran the left side, tripped up, then the restart. Valley worked it around, some nice passing. And then Jordan Anderson went to the right side and shot it past Tabitha Seiki. And it's now 10-7 Ottawa. Valley still with possession, and Booz had it stick checked away from her. So it goes back to Ottawa. Hildreth watching Barraza. And Valley will continue to play defense. Farewell was close to taking it away from Finley, but could not. Barraza watched by Booz to Finley. Finley gets around Anderson. Finley on the doorstep, shoots and scores. So Dylan Finley gets her first of the game. She's a senior out of Colorado Springs. And for Finley, that is goal number 18 on the season. She came in with 39 assists. And the lead is back to 4 with 2:25 to play. So Finley made a step, made a move around Anderson, and it was Finley against Hannon, and Finley won that battle. On the draw control, Valley will scoop it up, and Farewell has it, and she'll bring it in. Farewell still on the run, left side, and was on a little bit of a forehand, and couldn't do much with it, so she'll pull it back and feed it to Sydney Moyer. Moyer back to Farewell, and coming down on 2 minutes to play in the game. Farewell shoots and couldn't get much on it. And Seiki is there. High pass. And it was almost snagged by Jenrich before the Braves could get it, and then ultimately it's picked up by Willison for Valley. And Willison will start forward. And the ball back on the ground, still on the ground, and it just kind of rolls gently to Seiki. To Ring. Ring fouled by Haney, and Ring will feed it back to Fayette. Fayette carries forward. A little more than a minute to go. High pass. There was no one on with Thomas. And so it goes back to Valley, and a high pass there for Hennon. So coming up on 60 seconds to go, Thomas will get in Hennon's face. And she'll feed over to Kristen Hildreth, a junior out of Oklahoma City. Hildreth still with it. Tries to feed it to Malika Booz. It gets by her, but Magdich and a couple others were there, but ultimately, well, it's still on the ground. And unsafe stick, and it's going to go to Ottawa. Magdich, Pozluzny were both there. Neither came up with it. And the Braves control. Fayette running in circles. Fayette, gets checked from behind by Paige Farewell. And he gets a little bit of a reaction from the crowd. Farewell now to Haloma. To Romig. Back to Finley. 15 seconds to play. And this one is going to belong to the Ottawa University Braves. 5 seconds. Finley try to get something else off, but does not, and that is the game. 11-7 is the final. And congratulations all around for the Ottawa University Braves. The Missouri Valley College Vikings head over and will say farewell. Hugs for seniors Malika Booz and for Shea Jenrich as they play their final game at Missouri Valley College. All the totals for you in just a moment. You're watching Missouri Valley College Women's Lacrosse on the Viking Sports Network.